Hi, it is Wednesday morning, 28th of August. This channel is Drips Media, and I will be covering financial news from New York stock exchanges before markets open. The regular trading for the U.S. stock market opens at 9:30 a.m. My name is Daniela Drips. I will be quickly covering yesterday's closing data, main indexes, and the key companies. Please follow us online.
Good morning. This is Drips Media, lid from New York. Drips Media, the revolutionary digital service that transforms the way you stay informed. With Drips Media, you get real-time news delivered in dynamic short video clips, keeping you updated on the latest headlines as they happen. Our cutting-edge technology curates and condenses top stories. Whether you're on the go or just need a quick update, Drips News ensures you're always in the know, effortlessly. Stay connected, stay informed, and experience news like never before with Drips News.
And now, let's unpack yesterday's market performance, taking a closer look at the major indices. The Dow Jones Industrial Average edged up slightly, adding a mere 0.02% to close the day at 41,250.50. This marks the third consecutive day of gains for the Dow, suggesting a cautiously optimistic sentiment among investors. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 showed a bit more strength, climbing 0.16% to finish at 5,625.80. The tech-heavy NASDAQ mirrored this upward movement, also rising by 0.16% to close at 17,754.82. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ successfully reversed the previous day's losses, indicating a potential shift in momentum for the broader market. We'll delve deeper into these market movements after the break, examining the factors that may be driving investor behavior and what we can potentially expect in the coming days. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Before the break, we highlighted the positive performance of the major indices. Now, let's zoom in on some of the tech giants that often influence these broader market movements. Apple continues to be a favorite among investors, with its stock price closing at $228 yesterday. This represents a 0.4% increase, marking the third consecutive day of gains for the tech giant. This sustained upward trend suggests strong investor confidence in Apple's future prospects. On the flip side, Google's parent company, Alphabet, faced a setback, with its stock price closing at $164.70. This translates to a 0.9% decline, reversing 2 days of gains. It'll be interesting to observe whether this is a temporary blip or the beginning of a downward trend for the tech behemoth. Meanwhile, Microsoft saw a modest gain, with its stock price closing at $413.80. This represents a 0.1% increase, effectively reversing the previous day's losses. While not as robust as Apple's performance, this uptick suggests that investors are still optimistic about Microsoft's position in the market. Amazon, a major player in the tech space, saw its stock price close at $175.60 yesterday. This represents a 0.5% increase, marking a positive reversal from the previous day's slight decline. This suggests that investors are regaining some confidence in the e-commerce giant. Looking at Tesla, the electric vehicle manufacturer experienced a slight dip in its stock price, closing at $305.40. This translates to a 0.3% decrease, breaking a 2-day winning streak. Despite this minor setback, Tesla remains a closely watched stock, and it will be interesting to see how it performs in the coming days. Finally, let's turn our attention to Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook. Meta's stock price closed at $285.90 yesterday, reflecting a 1.2% increase. This marks a significant jump, reversing 2 consecutive days of losses. This positive movement suggests that investors might be regaining some faith in Meta's ability to navigate the ever-evolving social media landscape. Now, shifting our focus to other prominent tech companies, we see a mixed bag of results. Amazon experienced a setback, with its stock price closing at $173.10. This represents a 1.4% decrease, marking 2 consecutive days of losses for the e-commerce giant. It seems investors are reacting to Amazon's recent performance with some caution. Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook, also faced headwinds, with its stock price closing at $519.10. This translates to a 0.4% decline, marking 4 consecutive loss days. The social media giant continues to grapple with challenges in the digital advertising landscape, which might be contributing to this downward trend. However, it's not all gloom and doom in the tech sector. NVIDIA, a leading manufacturer of graphics processing units, bucked the trend, with its stock price closing at $128.30. This represents a 1.5% increase, effectively reversing the previous day's losses. The chipmaker's strong performance could be attributed to the growing demand for its products in various sectors, including gaming, data centers, and artificial intelligence. Netflix also saw its stock price close in positive territory, reaching $550.70, a 0.8% increase. This positive movement marks 2 consecutive days of gains for the streaming giant. Investors seem to be optimistic about Netflix's upcoming content slate and its ability to attract and retain subscribers in the competitive streaming market. Lastly, semiconductor giant Intel witnessed a slight uptick in its stock price, closing at $45.90. This represents a 0.2% increase, breaking a 3-day losing streak. While the gain is modest, it suggests that investors might be seeing some value in the chipmaker, despite the challenges it faces in the rapidly evolving semiconductor industry. That brings us to the financial sector, where we saw a mixed bag of performance yesterday. American Express outperformed its peers, with its stock price closing at $255. This represents a 0.5% increase, marking 4 consecutive days of gains for the credit card giant. Investors seem to be optimistic about American Express's ability to navigate the current economic landscape. On the other hand, Bank of America faced a setback, with its stock price closing at $39.70. This translates to a 0.6% decline, reversing 4 days of gains. It seems investors are reacting to the bank's recent performance with some caution. Meanwhile, J.P. Morgan Chase, another major player in the financial sector, saw its stock price close at $220.20. This represents a 0.5% increase, marking an impressive 5 consecutive days of gains. This sustained upward trend suggests strong investor confidence in J.P. Morgan's future prospects. MasterCard, a key player in the payments industry, saw its stock price close at $475, reflecting a 1.4% increase. This marks 2 consecutive days of gains for the company. Investors seem to be optimistic about MasterCard's ability to capitalize on the growing digital payments market. Morgan Stanley, a multinational investment bank, experienced a slight dip in its stock price, closing at $102.10. This translates to a 0.2% decrease, reversing 2 days of gains. Despite this minor setback, Morgan Stanley remains a closely watched stock in the financial sector. Finally, Visa, another giant in the payment space, saw its stock price close at $270.70, a 0.9% increase. This positive movement marks 2 consecutive days of gains for the company. Investors seem to be confident in Visa's ability to maintain its dominant position in the global payments market. Let's take a closer look at Bank of America, which saw its stock price close slightly lower at $39.70. This represents a 0.6% dip, snapping a 4-day winning streak. Despite this recent downturn, the stock has enjoyed a positive trend over the past 5 days, gaining 2.5%. However, zooming out to a month-to-date perspective, Bank of America's stock has experienced a slight decline of 1.6%. Despite these recent fluctuations, the bank's stock remains significantly up year-to-date, boasting a healthy 19% gain. This positive long-term performance suggests that investors remain cautiously optimistic about the bank's overall trajectory. Now let's shift gears and dive into the world of cryptocurrencies, where volatility reigns supreme. Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market cap, closed at $59,729.20 yesterday. This represents a 0.4% increase, effectively reversing 2 days of losses. Despite its notorious price swings, Bitcoin continues to hold its ground, suggesting sustained interest from investors. Meanwhile, Dogecoin, often perceived as a meme-based cryptocurrency, showed resilience. Closing at 10 cents, this translates to a notable 1.9% increase, snapping a 4-day losing streak. Dogecoin's ability to rebound after a downturn highlights the unpredictable nature of the cryptocurrency market. Finally, Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, demonstrated significant strength, closing at $2,517.60. This represents a substantial 2.4% surge, reversing 3 consecutive days of losses. Ethereum's positive performance could be attributed to its growing role in decentralized finance and the upcoming technological upgrade. This positive movement, however, should be taken in context. Over the past 5 days, Bitcoin has experienced a decline of 6.8%, and month-to-date, the cryptocurrency is down 7.6%. Despite these recent dips, Bitcoin remains significantly up on a year-to-date basis, boasting a healthy 41% gain. This suggests that while short-term volatility persists, long-term investor confidence in Bitcoin remains relatively strong. It's also worth noting that Bitcoin has seen gains in 5 out of the last 10 trading days, indicating some resilience despite the recent pullback. This interplay of short-term volatility and long-term potential is a hallmark of the cryptocurrency market, making it both enticing and challenging for investors.